Hello, Facebook friends. Well, I am down at the homeless tent encampment, and these are folks who were living in tents when the storm hit. And obviously, you know that the tent is no match for storm winds of the type that have hit St. Louis. 4 casualties throughout the city so far. I'm going to talk to Kevin about what the situation was like here. Hey, Kevin. How bad was the storm? How bad has it hit you guys?
It wasn't that much rain, but it was just windy. Winds was real strong. I mean, we almost blew me and my brother here over while we was inside the tent trying to hold it up.
What were you thinking when the storm blew through and you're sitting in a tent?
You know, it just hit, and it wasn't nothing. All we needed to do was just react. It wasn't really too much to think about. It was just react. You know, try to hold on. Excuse me, and we just try to make sure everybody that was still here was, you know, in somewhere, wasn't getting too wet. You know, the winds, and wasn't getting hit by debris or nothing. But up here on this hill.
So where's your tent?
What was my tent?
Let's take a look here.
Right here. Start pulling out the valuables and the generators and stuff to try to.
Hey man. So this is your tent,
Yeah.
and you were in here when this storm rolled through.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
And what do you know? All of a sudden, you heard the wind and things. The tent started falling in on you.
If one side came in, we pushed that side up, and then it seemed like the wind just came from around the other side and pushed it backwards. So it was just us 2 in there, and us 3 was in there, and we just trying to go back and forth. And then I got clunked upside the head. But other than that, you know, just glad we all alive still.
Yeah, that's what I asked you. Any casualties? Anybody? Any injuries or anything like that?
No, nothing major. Just got a little scratch on the top of my head, but that ain't nothing.
Okay.
You know.
But everybody here came through it.
Yes, everybody that stayed, you know, came through it. We tried to, you know, send some of the women to the other camp because they're inside a big, you know, concrete building. But
So how many tents were damaged in all?
oh, about 8. Because the small ones, the wind kind of went over because down lower to the ground, and then the ones that had like the bigger tents, the poles was just snapped. The wind was that strong, just snapped it. If it didn't snap them all the way, it just bent them to where when the wind just pushed them down like a pancake.
What was going through your mind, Kev?
You know, just try to, you know, survive. Just try to maintain, don't panic. So, you know, because once you panic, you know, you lose all thought about how to survive.
Right.
You know, we just, you know, kept calm and just went through it.
Kind of relief when you, when you come out of it and you realize that no one was hurt.
That's the best.
I guess that was the biggest thing, right?
That's a blessing. As strong as the winds was, it's a blessing that nobody was, you know, injured or hit by something flying through there. You know, we had a few debris, you know, some of the burn spots, some of the trash was, you know, falling around through there.
And a lot of people were in their tents when it hit.
Yes, I was in my tent along with Pork Chop. Brett and man left. Tinkerbell was in her tent. Keith and Stephanie, and she uses a walker. They was in her tent, but they in a smaller tent. And the wind, you know, would lower to the ground, and the wind just kind of.
But this one wasn't even scratched.
No, that's the one we had kind of put back together. It's a fairly new tent, so the poles are a lot stronger, and it's sitting on pallets, and we got to kind of nail down to the pallets to where it didn't. The bird didn't get up under the bottom of it. So
of course, when you're dealing with a storm like this,
you never know.
You're just fortunate that it didn't hit it.
It's just like when you're on the streets and tornado come down the streets, but it missed this house on this side of the street, but it tore up the other side of the street.
Right.
And that's basically what it basically kind of did up here. You can see by the fence over there where it just hit the fence and.
Yeah. What about those the tents over there? Any of them?
The one in the middle, the brown tarp, they stood the legs back up, but it was flat against the fence.
Okay.
But you know, fortunately they put theirs back up a little bit because they have the backside tied to the fence.
So what do you do about this?
Strap get all of the valuable stuff out of it, for like my generator, the portable chargers and cover it up the best as I can for the night, just in case it rain. And then tomorrow,
Do you try to rebuild it?
we try to, but this room is looking
Yeah,
pretty bad.
it's pretty tough.
'Cause I actually had it reinforced on the inside,
Okay.
and then you see the white posts. That's the reinforcement, and it just still bent them down, bent them over.
And so right now you're just getting all your belongings.
As long as
Out
I'm
here.
trying to move it over to to want to sleep with somebody tonight, and hopefully tomorrow see if I can do a little patchwork or find.
Well, hopefully somebody will give you a tent.
That'd be a blessing too. 'Cause, I know that's not just me. It's about 8 of us that got the big tents because
Right.
we use it's like the staff, the secretary, the medical's tent, which was mine. Then we have the tent when we have people like one night standers go and stay in with somebody. That tent got damaged. Those are the bigger tents. And we got one that's on the corner down there. It was one where we had people stay like
Right,
a
right.
community center, and it was totally wiped up and broke down.
I mean,
But
we also
hopefully-
have to patch these things together 3 or 4 times too. So they just keep getting weaker and weaker each time they get damaged. So
What you said? Were you in the tent when this hit?
yeah, I was standing over on the left side, sitting in one of the chairs, and when the first wall came kind of caving in, and like I said, we've had to patch these together because every time the storm hits,
Yeah.
every tent gets some kind of damage to it, and we have to patch it back together. But when you do that patchwork, it leaves the rest of the structure weakened, and the next time a storm comes through, it damages that much more. These tents are never meant for permanent. They're meant for maximum at maybe 6 weeks before they really start to fall apart.
They aren't designed for storm damage.
No,
They aren't designed for storms like this.
no, they're not designed for storms. Period. They're meant for rain, snow, little bit of light breezes, but they're not meant for anything like this. When you got 30, 40, 50 mile an hour wind gusts, and they said when you're anchored down to dirt, your strongest tent, the weakest point's where it's anchored at.
Right.
So
right.
when the wind comes, it just yanks. It's just like a giant sail, especially the bigger tents.
The one fortunate thing is that you're still standing.
Yeah, exactly. Thankfully, no one got hurt. Little bumps, bruises here and there, but nothing that's going to be, life-threatening injuries or anything
Right.
like that.
Right. Absolutely.
Unlike some of the other, we heard we had 4 or 5 casualties.
About four fatalities. Yeah. So it was a wicked storm.
Yeah. Thankfully, we didn't get hit with the worst of it. I can only imagine what would have happened if we got hit with the brunt. I don't think there'd be a tent standing up here.
I was surprised when I walked up here and saw all these tents still here.
Yeah. Well, like he said, most of them did get pushed down, and they just kind of put them back up. We make do the best we can with what we have.
Well, thank you for talking to me, man.
Thanks.
So what's the next step? What do you try to do?
We just try to rebuild. Just do day by day, hour by hour. I was talking to Brother Nelson and a couple of pastors that come down here, and this was some of the pictures they showed us about Natural Bridge. So he's on his way down here to see what he can do and see how he can assist us.
Right.
We got some main key players that helps us out.
What's your biggest needs now?
Biggest needs now is shelter. We need somewhere to sleep. Well, with it being warmer, it's not that bad, but
Right.
we still need somewhere to sleep in the future,
So
like tomorrow.
We got 8 sheds coming tomorrow.
Possibility.
So right now you're bunking with somebody else.
Yep.
I know we got one coming. We got a
All right.
few coming.
Hey, well, I'm gonna keep touch with you, Cap.
Okay.
All right, buddy.
Thanks for stopping
Thank
by
you.
and checking on us. I
All
really
right.
appreciate
All
that.
right. Because I didn't know what I would find.
Yeah.
I expected to walk over here and find
A big
all
walled up
the
mess.
all the tents flattened and injuries and everything else.
We got lucky.
Yeah, that's the most important thing, right, Cap?
Yes, yes, it is.
Everybody survived.
Yes, it is. That's the most important thing. Just like the pastor said, he said, he asked me, "There's somewhere you sleep tonight?" And I told him, "I will make do. I'll make do."
Hey, thanks for talking to me. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so there we are. Right now, I wanted to check. I remember the last tornado that hit here in the homeless tent encampment, where they actually moved the women out to a shelter, and nobody was injured. And you can see here Some of the tents were damaged, like, oh, here's, let's see, I showed you one, and here's another one that was damaged here. As you can see, this is the back of Kevin's tent, where he said it was pushed in. When you're looking at a storm like this that can knock down brick buildings, but you can imagine what it can do to a tent. So there was a tent over all of this stuff. The tent is gone. All the stuff remains, but nobody was hurt, and that's the most important thing in all this. And many will be looking for another tent to live in, but right now, like they say, it is a blessing that no one in this tent encampment was hurt. Certainly we can't say that for the rest of the city. The storm caused 4 fatalities in the city, and obviously, and they are still searching buildings, and the effort goes on. The mayor has declared a state of emergency, and the effort goes on, looking for any other potential victims, searching homes, make sure there's no one inside, and that effort is going to be going on for a while yet. They're going to have a news conference at 8:30 to give us an update on where things stand now. So, of course, I'm going to keep you up on this, my Facebook friend.